G'day, everybody. I want to talk about marijuana once again. It's a subject of mine, as I've been talking about things about it and things I think is wrong and right about things when it comes to marijuana and any drug. But I just want to talk about marijuana once again and about why people smoke marijuana. Do they smoke marijuana because they want to? Because they think that's the best way to have it? In my opinion, they don't. People that smoke marijuana might be 1% that do, sorry. The people that, most people in my opinion, that smoke it because it's not cheap. And it's the best way to get the effects of it instant as well. But it's also the most worst way to have it when it comes to your health with marijuana. And if you have it by smoking constantly and only that because of the situations of trying to afford it and you're trying to get the most effect from it, you'll eventually get lung cancer in the end if you don't die from something else. Because in small cases, people smoke all their life and die from a heart attack and other things not caused by smoking because everyone's different and so on. But people mostly smoke it is because it's usually illegal. So the places where it's illegal, people smoke it because it's very expensive and they're trying to get the best effect out of it. Because if you have it, and that's through a bong device, a pipe, and people call it, right? And if you have it through a joint, it uses up to 10 times more again to get the same effect that you could have using a little bit less of it through the pipe. So this, I'm trying to explain it to people who don't do marijuana or seen or heard about it in a quick little way. This is what this clip is to people. And so the people who get to, so if you can grow it, or the people who use it for medical reasons, eat it and have pills and stuff like that, which marijuana should be used like. That's if I had opinion to say and I legalized it, that's how I'd promote it and use it medically and stuff like that and for health reasons and to have a little bit of fun like people have fun with alcohol to replace alcohol because I'd rather see, and I've seen a lot of people who don't smoke it, who have alcohol and other things, even mention it. The ones who have alcohol mention it, but they like to have alcohol because they're alcohol drinkers. But I know a lot of them that drink have mentioned that they drink because it's cheaper again, right? So alcohol's cheaper again to wash away your problems. These are for people who have problems and they want to wash away their thinking of their problem. They become alcohol drinkers more than marijuana because marijuana eases, but it's costly and it doesn't last as long and stuff like that. There's lots of things to it, but that's my opinion and what I've learnt through other people and stuff like that. And so when it's legal, people can eat it. It becomes healthy when it's controlled and have rights with it, which is making it legal. People will go the healthy way because you can grow it and it's easy and it's just a plant. You can pump a heap of it out like we can do with any crop, right? If we want to, and so then we can use that plant to convert it like we do with food and crops that we do, and use it in different ways. You can put in food, pills, all sorts of medical reasons. Marijuana is a miracle plant and it helps in a lot of things and it's easy to work with and stuff like that. There's a lot of scientists that talk about that. Right? The only thing is that the world so far, which would be good if these scientists who are smart can quickly just help us out for a little bit and just think of something else because the scientists that are on the project at the moment to come up with proper drug tests for us because proper drug tests could fix a lot of problems because if you don't have a drug test that's right, it doesn't fix a problem, it just creates more problems. It can or create another problem. And so we need, when it comes to tests, to be pretty much 100%, right? If it's going to be a test, definitely a test that affects lives, is my opinion. And using tests that aren't effective properly and that can affect lives in other ways is not a good test anyway. But anyway, I'm not talking about tests too much. I'll get back to the subject of marijuana and why people use it in certain ways. And it could be more healthy. See, people like to say marijuana is not good for you because you get short-term memory loss and all this kind of stuff. And all these claims, right, too, that they have on this is that you can get that on any drug. Any drug gives you short-term memory loss if you have too much and you're not thinking. The more you don't think, the more you're going to get memory loss because you can't think, you're not thinking, you're out of it, right? Which is any drug. And then if you have just a beer or two and you're used to something, right, or a little bit of the drug, you can still think, right? And so it's not affecting you because you can think. So as long as you're still functioning and thinking, and you know you're thinking and you're functioning, right, and you can still remember, then you haven't had too much of that drug. So it's not affecting you. So any drug could be overdosed, which I've mentioned before. Anything that we've had released to the public can be abused. And so when you release something to the public, you're best to have the most safest drug to abuse or a safer product on the market if you can have that option than another product that's not so safe when it gets abused. Like alcohol. Alcohol cannot be abused. It kills when you abuse with alcohol. But when it comes to marijuana, unless you have allergic reaction, is the only thing that I've known, or you just do something stupid, which some people have done some things stupid. No matter what they've taken, they just do stupid shit. It can happen. As far as I know, marijuana doesn't kill, it just makes you go to sleep, right? Or you laugh too much, or you might get some spin out, like head spins, and like you're falling or can't hear properly kind of things. But it's not dangerous, it doesn't kill, right? You end up just stopping or falling asleep in most cases, right? Before you're like, oh, I'm not feeling well, or you don't feel well. And heart compulsions, so it's not good for people with heart problems, mate. You wouldn't recommend a lot of things for people with heart problems. But all I do is I try to understand things, and then I like to debate and then reason why certain things are happening. And if it doesn't make sense to me, well, I'll debate, like when it comes to marijuana and the tests they use and things they say, and I know it's 100% false. No one's dangerous because it's in their system. Every drug is in everyone's system for the same amount of time in a lot of cases. When it comes to marijuana, it can be a little bit more because it's a smoking thing, so it becomes in your phlegm, and they do have phlegm tests. And so if you can cough up, then phlegm tends to stay in your lungs, definitely with cystic fibrosis. And you can tend to cough up old dated phlegm. And if you happen to do that, it could be a year later. It couldn't happen. It's a theory, right? And then you have a test that just detects it. Even though the test is faulty, you shouldn't be using on the public unless you're just straight out telling them this is what we're doing to their face. That if you got anything to do with marijuana, we're going to destroy your life, we're going to take your license, we're going to find out that you've had it, we're going to come for you, you're not going to have a life because you won't have a license, no matter if you're straight. You're going to have to be off it and wait 6 months to a year and stay off it. Otherwise, if you have a test of that little bit of drug, you're gone. And that just, what I've talked about, promotes other people to have eckies and stuff like that, where they won't cough it up. It does come out, and they're not using a test when you're off an eckie, and people can tell you this. That's why all these drugs are becoming worse in Australia, in my opinion, because they'll move on to a higher drug that they can get over really quickly, and they can have a flushing system and stuff like that, and be good to go drive, and know they can have that drug and just chill out for a bit. Then they'll be safe. Where when it comes to marijuana people, and here in Australia, in Victoria, and in my case is why I don't have a license, and I may never get a license if I keep having a bit of marijuana every 6 months, and I do use it for my health, and I believe it does help cystic fibrosis, and I wish it was illegal and a lot of other things, but that's in my problem, in my case, and what I'm had to fight and deal with. But I just wish the government would be more fairer when it comes to their rules and rights, and they allow people to debate. Definitely when it comes to court. See, I couldn't. I thought I could go to court and debate that. Look, I wasn't stoned, and I'm trying to show that the test doesn't work efficiently about getting dangerous people off the road. It's just attacking the marijuana. by saying that you've had it, and you should just put an ad out saying that if you had this, you cannot drive. When it's not that when you're having marijuana, you're dangerous, because you're not. And I see that as an attack on a drug, right? Like another company say, you know, this is a theory that alcohol, because we all know this with the oil market and why it's hard to get solar and all this kind of stuff, and water engines and more things where we don't need oil because oil's already set it in, and they've got money and they spread things, and that's a whole nother thing when it comes to propaganda and stuff like that. But I do understand we need to use what we need to use to get somewhere, but how hard and how fast is a different story when it comes to all that. But anyway, I couldn't say my case because straight out in the end, if I try to speak why I wasn't dangerous, and my say is that in the end the judge told me that if you've had it and we can detect it in your system, and if it can be detected up to 6 months, then you're technically dangerous. And I tried to tell him that I wasn't dangerous, and I got told that I was. If he's detected and can be detected, then I'm dangerous. And I try to explain that that's not right, but we're not allowed to do that. It's spending too much time. I can't get into it. I'd have to get the court video for that one day and explain more of that in the future and make sure I got this clip right with that one. But I'm pretty sure I'm right because I'm going off memory and how I felt of my rights and why I stopped talking that day and keep my peace, because we can always keep on talking and try to get things out, but you don't want to. There's no use. If you know someone's got their point of view, then we're not there to try to change the point of view, are we? We're just there to try to talk about the point we're there. But anyway, I'm blabbing now, and I'm going to finish it there, and have a good one. And I hope people who don't know about marijuana understand a little bit more if they listen to this clip, and understand how people feel who's had it before and on it, and why people have it, and my opinion of it anyway. Have a good one. See you later.